Hello and welcome to the GSMC Book Review Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Sarah. Very happy to be with you on this Tuesday, getting caught up. I am happy about that as well. So very happy to be with you as we get started with this week's episode. Well, the first of two, hopefully, for this week's episodes. I do want to remind you to like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're either listening to or watching this episode on. Really does help the algorithm, gets the podcast out to more readers such as yourselves. If you would like to help the podcast in another way, you can go to gsmcpodcast.net. There you can leave a tip or a donation, however you want to look at it. And that helps not only this podcast, but the network as a whole. And this podcast, of course, does not exist without your support. So thank you, as always, for all of the support that you give that makes this podcast possible. It is really, truly appreciated. Again, that address is gsmcpodcast.com. Excuse me. Let me say that again. gsmcpodcast.net for those wanting to help out financially. And if you're watching, you may say, well, why do you need to say it again or correct yourself? We can see it playing next to you. But some people are only listening to this, so they do not have the video playing next to it. So if I give the wrong address, then that just doesn't do me any good now, does it? gsmcpodcast.net. And how is your week going? We are getting ever closer to Christmas. Hanukkah has started. Things are just trucking right along through Christmas. Solstice is coming up. The longest day of the year, shortest day of the year is around the corner. And this time of year just has so much happening. And hopefully if you are very, very busy, you are enjoying it. I have a friend who every time I talk to her, she's got another Christmas lunch or another Christmas party or another Christmas gathering, or she's just got every time I talk to her, and she keeps complaining because she's been doing really well on this eating plan that she has, and the Christmas parties keep throwing her off. And I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. We are very quiet this year, and maybe I'll complain a little bit. I could use like maybe a little tiny bit of that craziness, but not what it's been in years past. So if you are in craziness, hopefully you either thrive on that craziness or you're also getting some good quality introvert time, maybe some really good quality reading time. Hopefully. How was your weekend? Mine was great. I actually got out and spent time with a friend. She made me lunch, which is always nice. She made roasted tomato and pepper soup. Very good. I baked her a loaf of sourdough bread that morning, so I had something to take and contribute to the meal, but she made the meal and it was amazing. And then we baked cupcakes later in the afternoon together and just sat in the kitchen and talked about nothing and everything. Took her dog for a walk. So yeah, really nice, calm, quiet, wonderful afternoon spent with a good friend. Very happy about that. And Sunday was also quiet, but hubby and I are really kicking up the Christmas movie watching this year. He hasn't really been in the mood the last couple of years for a lot of different reasons, but this year he's like, nope, this year we are watching. And we have watched so many Christmas movies that we've never watched before. Some of them are really cute. Some of them are really great. Some of them are like, what is this? And I'm not going to tell you which is which because you have your own list of Christmas favorites. And if one of the things that I think is bat you know what crazy and you love it, I'm not going to argue with you. You might think that what I love is bat you know what crazy. Everyone has different opinions on their holiday movies. So we're just going to let each other watch whatever we watch, right? But we are not here to talk about Christmas or holiday movies. We are here to have an interview with an author, and this week it is a returning author. Diann has been on the podcast before. She was here the first time to talk about Charlie's Tire Swing. She writes children's books, as you can see. Let me give you the description of Boomer Sees the Town. This is the Curious Bunny Book 1, as you can see. So discover the first adventure in the Curious Bunny series. In Boomer Sees the Town, Boomer leaves the forest to explore the wonders, sounds, and surprises of the big city. Perfect for curious minds and early readers, this heartwarming children's story encourages imagination, discovery, and kindness. Written by award-winning author Diann Floyd Boehm and beautifully illustrated by Surya Ali Zaidan, this charming tale will delight children and parents alike. A must-have addition to any family's bedtime bookshelf. This says written for children ages 3 to 9. These are delightful tales for parents, teachers, and caregivers to read with their kids or for young readers to enjoy. So 3, maybe you have a really early reader, or maybe you are reading with your child. And then up to 9, depending on the reading level of your child. You, of course, know that. So this is a very cute, very sweet tale about a curious bunny who, sometimes curiosity is not good in stories. It can lead to bad situations. But this one, Boomer really just is curious, and he goes out to see what he can see, and he sees a lot, and he sees some very, very interesting, fun things that he has never seen before, and he does okay. So it's not one of those where, Boomer suddenly is lost and he can't figure out how to get home and he's terrified, or, there's a really mean dog or something like that. No, this is just a book about curiosity and to hopefully spark those curious minds. Like, what would you see if you went here? And then he goes home to his family. At the end, it goes back to his siblings in the forest. But let's go ahead and let Diann talk about the writing of this book. This is actually a re-release with updated new illustrations. So this book has been out. Maybe you've read it before, but it had different illustrations. But again, it's called Boomer Sees the Town. The author is Diann Floyd Boehm. Hi, Diann. Welcome back.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited to talk about Boomer Sees the Town. I'm excited that I got to read a children's book, which I haven't been doing much of lately, so thank you. Before we get to the book, though, if you would just share a little bit about yourself, maybe people didn't hear the first interview or they need a reintroduction.
Sure, I'd be happy to. How much time do you have? I'm just teasing. I love to tease. So Diann Floyd Boehm, and I'm in Austin, Texas at the moment. I have lived overseas in a couple of countries, and I've loved that. And I've been blessed to be able to travel and do a lot of humanitarian work. And Africa, I fell in love with. So I did humanitarian work in Uganda, Ethiopia, and Kenya, which was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back home in the States, Texas. And so I look at ways that I can reach out and help people here. I'm such a believer that if you've been blessed, you need to turn around and bless others.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been like that ever since I was a little girl. I was always thinking of ways of giving to others. I don't know, it's just built into me. Maybe it was my parents that helped me to be like that. My background is classroom teaching, but I've been on the stage acting professionally with popular productions out of the UK, as well as I was like one of the very first Americans to perform at the National Theater in the Philippines in a musical. So that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then before I knew it, I was writing books. Oh, and how could I forget my family, the most important thing, right? So my husband of 45 years and my adult children I have 3 of them, girl, boy, girl.
Good. Are they
And a
close,
grandson.
or do they live close, or are they far away?
No, it's weird how it happened for them. They all ended up in Northern Virginia, and
Oh,
they're about 15 minutes apart. And my husband and I must have done something right because they see each other at least once or twice a week. So,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
That's
nice. So
that's
obviously we travel up to Northern Virginia.
yes. That's really interesting how that happened, that they would all end up in the same place.
Yeah, their
Yeah, very
work,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This book is Boomer Sees the Town, and it's a re-release, right?
Yes, it is. It's a wonderful story, and I have several stories to go with it. But I made one of the mistakes that I found that new publishers or illustrators make is that I love watercolor art and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the art just wasn't connecting with the children of this time period. So we re-released it with a new artist, and he caught the magic,
Yeah.
and we have it bright and cheery. And as my grandson said, this is much better, Grandma.
Yeah, they say it exactly how they feel. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got his honest opinion on that.
that's right. I should have asked him the first time.
Can you give an overview of the story?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Um, so a bunny, which all kids relate to, and I made sure that it was something, because when you write, you want to make sure the reader can connect to the story, and children are very curious, right? So Boomer is a very curious bunny, and he decides he wants to see what's more to the world, and he sees some people running all the time down this one path, and he decided he was going to follow the path to see what he could see. And one of the things I did in the story is you'll see the phrase "to see what he could see."
Yeah.
And when I taught preschool and kinder, the one thing young children love is repetition, so they can engage in the story. So you'll always see what's where Boom is ready to go. I wonder what he's going to see, and then off he goes to see what he could see. So it's a phrase that continues on and on.
Yeah. Continues on to go see what he can see. And that's the wonderful thing about curiosity is you just go to see what you can see. And sometimes we lose that as we get older. Sometimes I don't want to go see what I can see. I want to just stay home where I know what I know. I don't want to see new things, but children are still learning about the world and they're very curious about the world. And Boomer is very curious about the world and he's a very, very cute, very sweet little bunny. But we're going to go ahead and take our first break of this episode. When we come back, I will admit to something completely ridiculous. Yeah, no, well, I'm just going to leave it at that. Completely ridiculous. You're tuned in to the GSMC Book Review Podcast, and I will be right back.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything?
Welcome back to the GSMC Book Review Podcast and my conversation with Diann Floyd Boehm, and your second and final reminder that if you do want to help out the podcast and the network as a whole, you can do so by going to gsmcpodcast.net, leave a tip or a donation. As always, it helps not only this podcast, but the network as a whole. If you are watching this, you are going to see that playing in the video next to me. You're also going to see it scrolling along the bottom of your screen throughout the episode. Those of you who are audio only and just listening to this episode, that address once again is gsmcpodcast.net. Thank you so much for all of the support you have given this podcast. It really, truly is greatly, greatly appreciated. Before the break, Diann gave an overview of Boomer Sees the Town, and let's go ahead and return to the conversation with Diann. I was laughing because I've been having a lot of interviews for thrillers, psychological books, crime fiction, which is great. But then I got Boomer, and I was having a little bit of anxiety because I'm like, okay, Boomer's going to get lost. He's going to get chased by a dog. He's going to like, calm down. It's a children's book. But I was also very grateful then to have something a little lighter and to read. So that was very fun. But what was your inspiration for this part of Boomer's adventure?
Sure. So actually, just even coming up with the character, there was two things that inspired me. One was a friend from England who had a teeny tiny, I mean, it was really just about like this size painting that she did, an oil painting. And it was of the forest, and there was just this teeny tiny little white bunny
Mhm.
peeking out. And I was like, oh, you look so curious, and it just always stuck with me. And then I was with my grandson playing with him one day, and we were just outside having so much fun. And, he was like popping all these questions at me. And before I knew it, I just connected the two together and came up with Boomer the Curious Bunny.
Great. And curiosity obviously is a trait that many children share. What else about Boomer do you think is going to resonate with children?
I think the fact that they they see him so they can just see themselves as Boomer, and they think there are things that happens that they think, what? Because Boomer, he's in the park, and when you're out of the forest, there's so many other things you're going to see. And Boomer's like, "Oh my gosh, it's raining from the ground. What is going on?" And it's one of my favorite things because the kids always laugh at that page,
Yeah.
and then they also go, "Oh my gosh, it's a sprinkler. Does he not know that?"
Yeah.
And so it's just all these little things that little kids are like shocked that the bunny doesn't know. And they
Right.
feel so smart because I'm talking because in the classroom, I'll see it happen with them and several times, or I've read it in a
Hmm.
classroom as well.
Yeah.
And they just, pepper me with questions like, wait, 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 I have to tell you something.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, always, I have to tell you something. um, Boomer is very curious, and he does go in search of what to see what he can see. But what do you hope children will learn about curiosity from the book?
That is it. It's important to be curious, and there's nothing wrong with it, and do ask questions, but also know that you can't go follow a path unless you have an adult with you because we don't want you to get lost. I
Mhm.
want them also to realize that Boomer does miss home, and Boomer wants to get back home, and it's like Boomer's like, oh my gosh, how do I get back home? And he starts to recall what he saw, and
Mhm.
that's real important for children to learn how to recall. And again, that's the teacher coming out in me. So it gives an opportunity for educators to bring in comprehension and recall. And the
Yeah.
kids are so proud that they can say, oh, he saw the bird. Oh, he saw the sprinkler. Oh, he saw the gentleman. Oh, there was the kite.
Yeah.
And to know that order is
Yeah.
exciting for them. Believe it or not, you think that's so simple as an adult, but for a kid, um, we forget that at school that is their work.
Hmm.
And when they accomplish that recall in the correct order, they're very proud of themselves. And so that's what I want them to accomplish, is to feel good about themselves.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Kids love the sprinkler, obviously, because it's raining from the ground. But do you have a favorite part of Boomer's adventure?
I do. Actually, I have two. One, it's a funny part because I think it makes the kids laugh. And that's when he sees his image for the first time. And he goes, oh, there's a friend. And he goes running towards the glass, not knowing it's his self. And then he goes, boing, and he's like, oh, that was me. I just
Yeah.
think that's hysterical. Um, and I just laugh with the kids when I read with them because they're reacting the way I wanted them to. Which
Yeah.
makes me so happy, right? And
Yeah.
the other is when he sees the birds and he realizes he misses home.
Mhm.
And it reinstates how important home is. And the kids can relate to that too. And so he's like, I got to get home. And then when he sees his siblings, he's like, ah, home at last.
Yeah.
Kind of like in The Wizard of Oz, she's like Dorothy's like, home, NEM,
Yes. Yeah.
yay.
Had a great adventure, but it's good to go home too and be with your
Right,
family.
right.
Absolutely. Um, the the illustrations have been updated, and they are the vibrant. I think Boomer's adorable, and he's got those big eyes that you come to expect on some of these characters. But
Yeah.
do you have a favorite illustration?
I do. And actually, I put it here. I don't know if it'll show up or not, but
Yeah,
of course, the sprinkler.
let's bring the.
He just, I just love the sprinkler. And it's the other one that I mentioned where he sees the birds and he wants to go home. And then let's see, I should have marked it. But when he runs into himself,
Yeah,
I just think that's really
his
funny.
face, his little
I think
face.
and I gave the illustrator free reign,
Okay.
and so it was so exciting when they just nailed it because you have a feeling of how you want it to be,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to sit there and just, at least I personally don't believe you should sit there and tell the illustrator, I want this. I need them to create their own magic and bring it together, and so
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah, and you mentioned the earlier illustrations, and very different in tone from those. This is also very different in tone from the last time you were here. We talked about Charlie's Tire Swing, which also had kind of those similar. I don't want to say
Right.
simpler because that's not quite the word I'm looking for, but very different in
Right.
tone.
Right.
Does that change anything for you? Like, do you feel not different about the story, but like, do you see the story in a different way with different as the author with different illustrations?
That's just a wonderful question. I think that again, it was a learning experience. And yes, and even Charlie the Tire Swing will be updated with
Okay.
with the with to match the children of today. And it does bring a more an interesting tone. There was a softness that came with all that watercoloring and more of
Yeah.
a nostalgic type of feeling. And and now, like with Boomer, I'm just excited as Boomer is because of the brightness and the happiness and the big eyes. And
Yeah.
so I'm really glad to be doing it, and wait till you see the other ones that are coming out. So
That's exciting. So you saw some of the illustrations there that Diann showed from a couple of scenes in the book. And I am curious, have you read a favorite children's book that has had updated illustrations? Did it change the tone of the book for you, or was it just a fun change? Like, illustrations are such a huge part of children's books, and they help form what we imagine or what we see when we read the words. So I'm just curious. We'll still be talking about illustrations when we come back from this next break, but we'll be talking about kind of the nostalgia of the illustrations that maybe you grew up with. What kinds of illustrations did the books that you read as a child have when you were growing up? You are tuned in to the GSMC Book Review Podcast, and I will be right back.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Book Review Podcast and my conversation with Diann Floyd Boehm. Before the break, we were talking about those updated illustrations, how this is a re-release of a story that has already been out, but with new illustrations. Let's go ahead and return to the conversation with Diann. It's interesting because the images in this book, and I love, again, the brightness and Boomer's adorable face, but the earlier pictures and the pictures from Charlie and the Tire Swing remind me so much of books from my childhood. So there's that nostalgia for me as an adult. But children see so many different images now than we saw growing up. So the illustrations obviously have evolved as well.
right, right. And again, I'd like to say for all those listening that even artists and writers have a learning curve
Mhm.
because we do tend to fall back on things in our own memory, and we have to remember who we're writing for today and what they're used to. And so um, I learned from it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's next for Boomer? What's his next adventure?
Well, we have Boomer Sees the Forest. Now it's going to be Boomer Hears the Forest, and
Okay.
it sort of has the same feel. And you're the first person I've ever told what that new story is going to
Oh,
be.
thank you. Is there a timeline for that?
Well, it's with the publisher has it now with the illustrator, so they're working on that.
Okay.
And I think I can tell you that Boomer is going to go into space.
Oh,
And there's another little tidbit
okay.
announced on your show first.
Yes, thank you.
You're
Oh, Boomer
welcome.
in space. Now I'll have to wait and see how
And now
that
you're
happens.
curious.
Yeah, see, now I'm curious. Exactly. Exactly. Are we going to learn more about Boomer's siblings?
Not as of yet,
Okay.
but it eventually it'll come. There's something churning in my head, but I'm not quite sure how to do it yet because I have like five other stories written. So
Okay. Yeah.
uh,
So what are you currently working on?
currently on several things separate from Boomer, because like I said, I have five stories ready for him, but I am working on some short stories about animals in my life growing up, as well as in my family, and how much they played an instrument in our life. And I just want to cherish some fun short stories, easy reads, and to remind people of how precious, if they have a pet, how
Mhm.
they are more than just a pet, they're part of
Yeah.
the family. And so I'm really excited about that. And it has brought some really wonderful childhood memories and makes me wish I could wake them all up and bring them back to me because I don't, when you're little, you don't really tell them how special they are until you're an adult and you look back and you just go, wow, that dog taught me a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
does that
But
make sense?
I'm sure it's sort of reawakening some of your core memories.
That's a really great way to put it. Yes, it has. And
Yeah.
I find
Yeah.
myself uh, remembering them more often than before because I have written about them. So
Yeah.
that's kind of exciting. And I'm working on playing around. I have a long way to go with it, but toying with the idea of writing a preteen book
Okay.
for young girls and eventually for young boys to appreciate their bodies and love themselves just the way they are. And
Mhm.
I remember when I was growing up, and I was fortunate my mom was a nurse, so she was always talking to us and telling us, and so we would celebrate different changes. And then she got me this one little book that I treasured forever. And I thought, you know what? Everybody needs a book like that. And it's not really a book, it was more of like a pamphlet, but it was like
Mhm.
20 some pages long. But I loved it.
Yeah.
And in today's society, I just think that we're all so busy, and not everyone has the opportunity to have a mom that feels comfortable talking about bodies. And
Mhm.
so I want to give back in that way too.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. It's a very delicate thing.
It is, and especially again, different from how we grew up, where we had enough issues with body image, but social
Yeah.
media plays such a role in how children see themselves and how they think they should look. So it's
Yeah.
important for them to try to learn that lesson of everyone's body is different, everyone's body is amazing. Um,
Yes.
so
Yes. So
that's
true.
good. I wish you luck as you navigate that writing path.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. So we'll see. And then I had the release of Ruby Takes Chicago, which is the sequel to Rise, a Girl's Struggle for More, which is a young historical fiction book. And so I'm starting to get people going, well, I want to know more. And I thought I was finished with Ruby, but maybe I'm not.
okay.
So who knows? My mind is always thinking. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you might have thought you were finished with Ruby, but Ruby might say, "Nope, sorry, Diann, there's you're not done yet."
I know, isn't that crazy how a character can do that?
Yeah,
So we'll
it's
see.
amazing. Um, what have you been reading?
Well, I just finished a book that I love that was written a while back by Loretta Lynn, and it was Me and Patsy, and that was
Mm,
really, really fun to read. Um, and then, but I just recently took out a book that I'd read before, but I like to go back to this particular book called Dolly Parton, Dream More, because
hmm
I don't know if you've read that book or not, but Dream More is just a fabulous book of inspiration.
hmm
And that's what she wanted when she wrote that book, was to inspire you to dream more
Yeah,
and to dream big and go after your dreams. And I relate to that so much because that's what I try to do in my own writing is especially in Rise, A Girl Struggle for More, is
hmm
that don't think you can't do it. You're stronger than you think you are. And
yeah,
just, get those doors to open. And it might be difficult, but you can do it. And I think that Dolly Parton's book, Dream More, is all about that.
yeah. Well, I mean, she's not a bad place to look for inspiration if you want to see someone who's done amazing things with their life. I love Dolly. I don't think there's a lot of people who don't love Dolly. She's pretty amazing, and there's a lot of reasons to be impressed by her and to find inspiration in the things that she has done in her life. We're going to go ahead and take our last break of this episode. When we come back, we are picking up this conversation with my last comment, just to segue you back in, just to remind you that we are talking about Dolly Parton as part of that conversation, and will be again when we come back. You're tuned in to the GSMC Book Review Podcast, and I'll be right back. Welcome back to the GSMC Book Review Podcast and the conclusion of my interview with author Diann Floyd Boehm. As a reminder, before the break, we were talking about Dolly and, amongst a couple of other things, Loretta Lynn as well, but specifically Dolly is what the next comment is referring back to. And you've already heard me say it, but we're segueing in and out of the segments with that comment. So back to the conversation with Diann. That she's not a bad place if you want to see someone who's done amazing things with their life.
She has, and I have such respect for her. I remember when I was a young girl and I heard country music for the first time, and my mama was more into opera and things like that, and Dean Martin, whom I absolutely love, and Elvis Presley, and
Yeah.
that time frame. And so I grew up with all that music, and all of a sudden Dolly Parton entered my world, and I was like, what? And I could relate to it so much because she wrote about real life.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they didn't sing about it, but there was something magical about her.
Yeah.
And I remember I just kind of wanted to be Dolly Parton, but who can be Dolly? There's only one Dolly
It's
Parton.
only one Dolly, but
Yeah,
the fact that she's been an icon for decades and continues to
decade.
be so is amazing.
Yes, and and she she can say dream more because that's what she did.
Yeah.
She didn't come from money. She didn't
No.
come from wealth or live in a giant home that's 10,000 square feet that I know some people live in today.
Hmm.
And I know some people have a house bigger than the White House, right? She
Yeah.
came from simple means. And that's one of the things that draws me to Loretta Lynn as well, is is they really show that you can you each of us have a gift,
Yeah.
and we have to discover what our gifts are, and try to share those gifts, make those gifts come true. It doesn't mean you have to become famous like Dolly Parton, but you can become famous in your own world. And
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's what inspires me to read about Dolly Parton.
Sure. If people want to know more about you and the books, I know you have a website. So if you can share your website and any social media you're currently active on.
Sure, I'd be happy to. My name is different, so I'm gonna spell my website, because even Diane, my mother,
Yeah.
made it different. So it's D-I as like an igloo, A as an apple, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, Floyd, Floyd, Boehm, B as in boy, O-E as an elephant, H, M as in Mary.com. So DiannFloydBoehm.com. And I have a newsletter. So if you sign up for my newsletter, that would mean everything to me. And you can find out ways that if you dream big about being an author, just emailing me, being part of my newsletter. I'm happy to help people, and I do it free of charge because that's my way of giving back. And I'm on all the social media practically, on X and YouTube and Amazon, and you just name it, I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably all linked on your website, right?
All linked to my website, and I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, wonderful. Diann, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to make sure that you highlight at this time?
Sure, thank you. I guess I want people to know, like, if you read any of my books, whether it's for young adults or for children, that I believe that all children's books are for adults too, because the messages are there, and you might discover, oh gosh, I think she's talking to you, myself, because
Hmm.
the books are kind of multi-layered. And I like to write books where the children want to go, what? I want to ask a question, mama or daddy or auntie or whomever is reading it. I also want people to know that my books are about embrace and imagination. It might have a theme about peace, love, loving yourself, being kind to others. So that's where I really concentrate on my writings, and hoping that I inspire others to be the best they can be.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for taking time out of your weekend to talk to me about Boomer and about writing. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my deepest honor, and I hope you have beautiful holidays.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you again to Diann for joining me to talk about Boomer Sees the Town. If you have little ones and you're looking for a book about curiosity, then you might want to check this out. It is the beginning of a series, so Boomer will have more adventures. Maybe you're still looking for some last minute holiday gifts. I don't know, but if you do have little ones and you saw the cover and heard the premise, it is a very cute story about curiosity, and it is not a thriller. That's just my own issue. Not a thriller. Nothing scary. Just a curious and adorable little bunny. So go check that out. And of course, that is not the only book that Diann has written. So you can check out all of her children's books. And the one that we talked about the last time she was on is called Charlie and the Tire Swing. I will link that I'll link that interview to the YouTube video of this interview. So if you want to go back, that one is audio only. That was the last time she was on. We hadn't switched to video, but I will link to that episode so you can watch it. Well, listen to it if you want. And yes, I just completely lost my train of thought. I was going to wrap up that somehow in a nice, neat bow, but mostly just to say thank you to Diann. She does have other books. You can check out her website and see if there are other children's books that you want. Oh, I was going to say that Charlie is getting updated images as well, updated illustrations as well, as Diann mentioned in the interview. Okay, so thank you to Diann. Thank you, of course, as always, to you for joining me for this conversation. I hope you will join me for the next conversation, which in theory should catch me up. Let's hope. I spoke with Victoria Helen Stone this past weekend about her book, Bald-Faced Liar. This is psychological suspense, and it is an unreliable narrator, but who still has, like, I still found her compelling. Like, I didn't, sometimes unreliable narrators just completely put me off, and this narrator did not. So if you are a fan of unreliable narrators, or you like psychological suspense, or you have read any of Victoria's other books, because she has lots of them, not only psychological suspense, but writing romance under Victoria Dahl, then definitely join me for that next conversation that should go up on Friday this week. I hate to say that out loud because don't let the universe mock me again, but it should go up the end of this week. So here's hoping. And then, in theory, I will be back on track, having caught up from the great technology fiasco of 2025. I hope you're having a great week. I hope your December is going extraordinarily well. No matter what is happening, it's going well. You're not crazy. You're not stressed. Deep breaths. There's a YouTube, a TikTok creator that I watch sometimes, and somewhere in every video he says, unclench your jaw. So if your jaw is clenched, go ahead and unclench that jaw. Drop those shoulders. Deep breaths. I say these things, but am I good at them? No. But I hope that your December is going really well. If you haven't done so already, please do like, follow, and subscribe on whatever platform you're either listening to or watching this episode on. Also, leaving a review really does help the algorithm, gets the podcast out to more readers. Do that with your authors too. Like, follow, subscribe, write reviews for their books. Reviews, algorithms, they go hand in hand, make this whole internet world go round. But it's greatly appreciated. I say that from me. The authors would agree, but write reviews for the things that you love. It does help. You can also follow the podcast on social media: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. Hope you're having the best week. Whatever's going on with your December, though, I hope it is giving you plenty of time to get yourself lost in a good book. Thanks, and hopefully I will see you or talk to you on Friday.